Hello students, so far we have learnt about permutations and permutation groups and function composition and how function composition plays a role as a binary operation on the set of permutations on a finite set. Okay, so far we have learnt that how we apply function composition and how we multiply permutations in notation, array notation of permutations. Today we'll learn about some examples of permutation groups and the cyclic notation of these permutations. Okay, so first we take few examples of permutations groups. Now first of all, S3. Now what is this set? If we have A is equals to 1, 2, 3, the set of all permutations on A, or we can say set of all 1, 1 functions on A form a group under function composition. All right, so that is S3. We call it S3, which is symmetric group of degree 3. Okay, and I leave up to you to find out the elements of S3. There would be total 6 elements in S3, and let me write one. The first one is very basic. Identity has to be there. Let me write down the other one. 2 goes to 3. How do we decide basically the elements of S3? Then 1 goes to 3, 2 goes to 1, and 3 goes to 2. Okay, then I have 1 goes to 1, 2 goes to, we already have 3 and 1. One goes to 2, 2 goes to 2, and 3 goes to 3. No, this cannot be a case. 2 goes to 3 and 3 goes to 1. Again, we already have that permutation. So let's try to find out the elements of this set. 1 has how many options? 1, 2 and 3. Alright. 2 has how many options? If 1 has already taken 1, 2, 3, since this is a 1-to-1 function, 2 has only 2 options, 2 and 3, and 3 will have only 1 option. Okay, so multiplying all these possibilities, we get how many elements? 3 into 2 into 1, which is 6 elements. Okay, so let's again write down the elements. One can take up 1. Okay, 1 can take up 2. Then 1 can take up 3. Alright. Now In this case, if 1 takes 1, 2 can take up 2, and also 2 can take 3. Okay? Similarly, if 1 takes 2, 2 is left with 2 options. 1 or 3, because 2 is already gone. Alright. And if, and here also 1 can take up 1 and 2 can, 1 has already taken 1, so we have options 2 and 3 that we have already taken, so that there's no need. And let's complete first. Okay. And if 1 takes 3, we have 2 can take 1 and 2. Okay, and we have these blank. Now, here if 2 takes 3, we have no other option. This is 2. And this is 2, 1, 3. This is 3, 1, 2. Okay? And again this is 2, 3, 1. 3, 2, 1. Okay? Then now let's have, since 2 has already taken 1 and 3. So cannot take 2, alright? We could have written it here itself. If 1 goes to 2, 2 has only. So this is not an option for us. We have already taken these elements. I wrote this in the next line, so that is why we are not left with any values in those permutations. So we have 6. Let's check if all of them are different permutations. This is different. None of these in identity except this one. Let's find out if any one of them is same. These two are different. 2 goes to 3, 2 goes to 1. These two are different. 2 goes to 3, 2 goes to 1. 2 goes to 3, 2 goes to 3. This is different. 3 goes to 2, 3 goes to 1. Then here 3 goes to 1, 3 goes to 2. This is different, alright. And these two, 3 goes to 3. This is different. 3, 1 is same, but 2, 3 and 2, 2 is different. And how these two are different? 1 goes to 2 and 1 goes to 3. So these are distinct 6 elements. And how do we know that? How? There will be only, this is the exhaustive set, S3. There will be only 6 elements in this because we have already tried to find out the order of S3. So this is how we write S3. And I leave up to you to find out that these elements, not all elements of S3 commute with each other. Okay? So the way we found out the order of S3, similarly we'll find out the order of Sn. This is called symmetric group of degree n. Alright? So say we have A is equals to 1, 2, 3, so on up till n. So this is the set of all permutations defined on this finite set. Okay. So how do we calculate the order of Sn? That is the reason why I repeated the definitions of 1-1 and onto functions from high school. So this will help us finding out the order of Sn. Okay, so we have n elements. Okay, so now 1 has how many choices? N choices. 1 can go to 1, 1 can map to 2, 1 can map to 3, say up till n. Now 2, whatever 1 maps to, leave that element and the remaining n minus 1 can be taken up by 2. Alright, if say we have 1 goes to 3, leaving 3, all other n minus 1 elements can be taken up by 2. Okay, so this was just an example, but it can take n minus 1 choices. Why n minus 1? Because if 1 goes to 3 and 2 also goes to 3, is that function 1, 1? No, because here we have a pair of non-equal elements such that fx is equals to fy. F of 1 is 3 and f of 2 is 3. So this is not 1, 1 in that case. Hence we decrease every time we calculate the choices for each element in the domain set, we decrease the value by 1. 3 will have how many choices? N minus 2 choices. Similarly, moving ahead, n minus 1 will have how many choices? 2 choices left. At the end you will have only 1 choice left, because after the n minus 1th element takes 1 element out of the 2 choices, only 1 element is left. The same we took in in the set 1, 2, 3 where n was 3. 1 had 3 choices, 2 had 2 choices. The third element is left with, because 2 has already taken the remaining 1 element out of the 2 elements, so 3 has only 1 choice. So hence total number of elements will be multiplied. This is applying permutations and combinations learned in high school. Multiply n into n minus 1 into n minus 2 into 1. Now what is this special figure? This is n factorial. Okay, so order of Sn is n factorial. Okay, so we have learnt S3 and Sn. Note that this is a special point to be noted. Sn for n greater than 2 is non-abelian. That means you will find at least one pair of elements for which the permutations do not commute. At least 2 permutations. We will come to S2 also. In S2, each and every element commutes with each other. There is a reason why it happens. For example, we have 1, 2. Okay. Now what are the possible combinations? 1 has choice 1, 2 and 2 has choice only 1. Okay. So how do we write the permutations? Possible permutations. 1 goes to 1 and 2 goes to 2. 1 goes to 2 and 2 goes to 1. Right? And so this is the only these are the only 2 elements in S2, and these elements commute with each other. This is the identity. The inverse of a 2 cycle is the cycle itself. We'll learn the cycle notation later on, but the inverse of this is this element itself. Okay, so for S3 we have learned that there are 6 elements. I leave up to you to find out 2 permutations in S3 which do not commute with each other. Alright, so we learn another example of a permutation group. which is denoted by d4. Okay. Rotations of a square. We would have never thought that rotation of a square can be represented in the form of a permutation. How? For example, we have a square. Okay. So, what is a 90-degree rotation? This is a fixed element. Okay. And we apply rotations on the square, and we have already labeled these corners of the square. Now, if I apply 90-degree rotation to this, what is the resultant square? Okay. Now, can we write a permutation out of this? Yes, we can write a permutation. 1 goes to 3, 2 goes to, 1 goes to 4, 2 goes to 1, 3 goes to 2, and 4 goes to 3. Alright. Now, if we apply this fixed element is the reference element, and we apply rotations on different kind of rotations on this element. This is horizontal reflection. Apply horizontal reflection, and what do you get? This is like flipping. Okay. So this is 3, 2 and 4, 1. Now what is the permutation here? 1 is going to 2, 2 goes to 1, 3 goes to 4, and 4 goes to 3. Similarly, we have vertical rotation. What will it be? Flipping this ways. Okay. So this is 3, 4, 2, 1. Okay. So what is the value of alpha here? 1 goes to 4, 2 goes to 3, 3 goes to 2, and 4 goes to 1. So this is the permutation. Can we have something called identity? How shall we obtain the identity? 1 should lie here. After what operations do I apply such that I obtain the identity element? It should again be a 1, 2, 3, 4, the same square with the same labels. Square with the same labels. Apply 90-degree rotation. 1 comes here. Again 90 degree, 180, again 90 degree, and then we have 360 degree. So 360 degree rotation gives us the identity element. Alright. So these are examples of rotation of a square which form a group, and this is a subgroup of S4. When we write D4 in this manner, this is a subgroup of S4. I leave up to you to complete these particular rotations and how many different kind of rotations we can apply on a square. Okay. So next we'll learn about the cyclic notation of a permutation. let's learn this cyclic notation. 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, and 4, 1. What should be the cyclic notation? Like this. 1 goes to 2, 2 goes to 3. Unless we have something like we are repeating the element. Unless 1 comes, we keep on writing the elements. 3 goes to 4, 4 goes to 1. We just say we close the bracket. So this is a simple cycle. Let us take another example. I took anything, there's nothing special in this example. Now 1 goes to 4, right? 4 goes to 2, alright? 2 goes to 3 and 3 goes to 1. So this is the cycle. Now this can also be written in as a multiplication of different cycles. That totally depends on the permutation. If I fix any element, say 2, 4 and 1, right? Now alpha can be written as 1 goes to 2, 2 goes to 4 and 4 goes to 1. We close it here, okay? And then 3 goes to pick some element from this. Let's try and find out the multiplication of these permutations as we used to do in the array notation. Similar is the procedure in the cyclic notation. Start with the very first element in the first cycle, which is written on the right hand side. 1 goes to 2, 2 goes to 7. 7 goes to 1 and 1 goes to 3. 3 goes to 7 and 7 goes to 2. 2 goes to 3 and 3 goes to 1, and we stop here. We stop the cycle where we obtain the very first element, okay? And next element is 6. 6 goes to 4 and 4 goes to 5, right? 5 goes to 5. In the first cycle 5 goes to 5, 5 is fixed, and then in the second cycle 5 goes to 6, and we stop the cycle here. And then we have 4. 4 goes to 8 and 8 goes to 8. So 4 goes to 8. Now 8 goes to 6 and 6 goes to 4. Okay? So 8 goes to 4 and we stop the cycle here. So how many elements have been gone? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think we have covered all the 8 elements, and hence the multiplication is this value. Alright. So that's the value of the multiplication of these two cycles written in cyclic, these two permutations written in cyclic notations. Okay. So here we define disjoint cycles. What are disjoint cycles? Cycles which have no entry in common are disjoint cycles. Alright. So this is disjoint cycle form. So what is disjoint cycle form? When a permutation can be written as a multiplication of cycles which have no entries in common, so that is called the disjoint cycle form. For example, in this product of permutations, we have written this as a product such as none of the permutations is none of the cycles have any symbol in common. We call each element of the cycle is a symbol. Okay, no symbol is common. Symbol or entry. All right. So this is how we write cyclic notation, and how we multiply the permutations written in cyclic notations. So today we have learned about special kinds of permutation groups S3, Sn, T4. Then we learned about how to write a permutation in this cyclic form, and how to multiply permutations written in cyclic form. Our next class will include some theorems on these permutation groups. So stay tuned for more videos, and keep watching these videos again and again for clarity of concepts, and thank you for watching.